Today is August 11th. Today is the day the IRS is supposed to give me a call from the advocate. In the past few days, I was self-conscious of the content that I was making on YouTube. And then I realized that this content is for me and my kids when they grow up. Maybe they'll see me. And hopefully, after I become successful, then I'll be able to reference what I did here to them to become finally profitable. As with many days, today, without exception, today I in particular traded UJ with one of my 10K accounts. The 10K account is a second step, but I traded it anyway. Now, what I've noticed about what I noticed about this particular situation is that I tend to catch a falling knife, which means that which means that the which means that the pair is essentially dropping, and I will see a little bit of green, and I would get in expecting it to go up, and I'd size in a little bit too. And what I ended up doing is essentially catching a falling knife. And then I'll repeat that, and I'll be in a hole of essentially 2%, 2%, actually 1% of that 10K account. Then what I ended up is trying to catch up and fill in the drawdown that I have incurred. So what seems to be interesting is that when I go through that situation, I don't feel it. I don't feel the full impact of catching a knife until last week. I think it was, last week. So I believe maybe it's God showing me that there's some interaction between what I'm doing and in the market and the reality of the traction that I have in real life. So I was unfortunate in catching another sort of knife, but in a physical form. And late at night, what I was doing is practically everybody had gone home, and I was tossing a trash near my dishwashing area, and it was heavy enough where it required my right hand to support the bottom. What I noticed recently for the past few days is that my wrist does makes lots of contacts in lots of different areas. And what happened was my wrist, the back of my wrist was sliced clean open as I tossed it over the wall, and the trash bag fell and I caught it. And so apparently there was a knife at the bottom of it that was sticking out, and that knife just sliced right through about a couple inches. And what I felt was like a bee sting, because it was dark. My eyesight isn't very good either, so it felt like a bee sting, and I didn't make too much of it. So I came into the light and I saw it, and I saw this skin just open, exposing a bone. I thought, oh my gosh! So I closed it. I ran into the first aid kit and got one of those butterfly tapes. I put four of them on there to close it together. Then I put one of um, these supporting tapes around it. Okay, it's for like athletes to support. So I put two wraps on it, uh, and then afterwards I went to Walmart the next day and then got myself a wrapping, a body wrap to cover it up. So when I looked at it this morning and yesterday, I noticed that the cut was healing nicely. Now, when I looked at it, I thought, oh, it didn't cut a vein or artery, so it's okay. So I put some antibiotic on it and covered it up. and went to Walmart to see if I could get some more butterfly bandages so that I can put it on there if need be. Hopefully, this will be okay within the next 2 more weeks. Um, and what I've noticed in particular about uh, the traction that I got from this is that I made a connection between what I'm seeing in the market of catching the knife and actual placing the feeling, the physical feeling of essentially catching a knife. Essentially a trash bag that's about 25 pounds with a knife sticking at the bottom of it. When it drops, it just slices things. A clean slice. And what I've noticed is that there's in the movie, there's quite a few things that happened in my past. I've noticed is that I think his name is Sting of the Police. The guy's name is the Sting, I think. So that's yeah, he's part of the police, and he's a Sting, right? And I used to work for a company called Microchip, and when I was leaving, uh, a master's degree and a PhD somewhere in between. Was in the part of obtaining his PhD in electrical engineering. The other has the electrical engineering and PhD. So they were sending me off, and so we went to a karaoke area, and so they chose a music for me, and it was his song. And I noticed that his song is very, very difficult. But what I've noticed about that is that um, his name is Sting. Okay. Then I told a coworker of mine, and she was there when I was patching things up, and I said, "Oh, is your arm okay?" And the following day, she says, "Hey, how's your arm?" And I told him, "Well, I made this connection between a Saving Private Ryan and Forrest Gump." Didn't exactly put it that way. I told her that um, in the movie, which turned out to be actually Forrest Gump. So you have the main character who was carrying this Lieutenant Dan in Vietnam. And I told her I felt like I was in Vietnam. So what happens is he was carrying him on the shoulder and he was running through the jungle to get out of the line of fire. And apparently one of the bullets just struck him in the buttocks. And he said it felt like a bee sting. And sure enough, that cut felt like a bee sting. Of course, it's a minor thing compared to what he was going. Thank God the knife didn't sever my vein or artery, which was uh, essentially that made it a difference between a night and day. And so he was running through the jungle and he felt something. It felt like a bee sting, but eventually when he got to safety, he had a bullet stuck to his butt, right? So something that feels like a so so the moral of the story is when I catch a falling knife, I need to equate that feeling to the market and then equate it to this bee sting, which could have essentially anytime I have if I had an issue with an artery or a vein, whichever way it goes, I mean it could have been life threatening because I would be bleeding out. Fortunately, it was just skin peeling back, and so I had to make this video. It seems so self conscious, and it seems so self conscious of some physical event that occurred to me that seems to relate to day trading. Essentially is catching a falling knife, and catching a falling knife, if I'm not careful, it could sever a vein or an artery that causes a trip to the hospital with a huge medical bill. And especially in this situation where I don't have any insurance, okay? And I was thinking, okay, so would a emergency room take me in even though I don't have any insurance, because it has to be life threatening. They'll probably say, well, you don't, you haven't lost anyway. So I suppose that's how it works. But I had to, I, it feels so self conscious to document this event in my life as I'm day trading, uh, thinking that it's something that I don't need to, I'm just like thinking about what I'm doing now. But it's this incident has caused me to have second thoughts about what I'm doing. Now today I did the same thing. I caught this UJ and it was going down. Okay, it was down, 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 and it made a little green candle. So I got in with quarter lot, and I built it up to like one lot, and it just started to implode and would get into my stop loss. So essentially, so far, even though I was able to make a connection between catching a falling knife in the cyber world, I am able to make a connection to the physical world where it felt like a bee sting. It's like it felt like a bee sting, but when I looked at it, I was like, whoa! It felt like my whole skin was about to like peel off and expose the tendons and the bone that was on there. Anyway, I survived it. I survived that incident, and it's what a wake up call. Uh, it's a wake up call, and it could have been far worse. It could have been far, far, far worse. So I also thought about what is the implications of a stop loss, and stop loss is essentially to stop that plunge deeper and deeper into drawdowns. And even if I set a stop loss that is significantly large, I can look forward to surviving that single transaction so that I can come back and then possibly recover, not all of it on that day, but able to recover maybe 70% or 80% of that severe drawdown. So there's a couple lessons that I need to be with trading and the way things are done by human emotions and the mind. And then what happens is that I will say something, but it may repeat. Okay, it may repeat. I may do this again, like this professional day trader on. They're talking about whenever they day trade, they have this they have this uncontrollable thing, despite the fact that they're very experienced, like coming back from a vacation or having trading trading more than they normally do. It could trigger these events, no matter how experienced someone is. That these are recurring things that I need to be conscious of, and what I need to be conscious of is that stop losses will stop a complete eradication of the account. And catching a falling knife, it is very similar to a bee sting, but it is far, far worse than a bee sting. Okay, it is bordering on essentially just bleeding out or whatever it is. Uh, so uh, I'm still progressing. I'm looking forward to passing these challenges. My my next step is to, after surviving this bee sting, is to essentially get a payout and then move on to the next level, get a payout. And when I achieve at least those two things, that means that I've acquired the skill set to essentially be profitable on a consistent basis, probably at any funding level. That's what essentially what I'm doing now that I've survived this 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 beasting.